45 at a down better down 50. I'm at 45 at a down better down 50. Sold 45, sold them 40.
Well, it didn't go to the auction as many had thought it would. We didn't get the money that was thrown about during the World Cup, but it looks like Celtic have sold Josip Juranovic, and in a deal that could reach £10 million after he was given permission to fly to Germany. The Hoops, the Celtic fullback who joined from Legia Warsaw in a £2.5 million deal, looks like he's been the first player that Ange Postecoglou has sold on after his performances in the World Cup. Everyone thought that we were going to get some crazy money for him, but Sky Sports put out last night that the initial deal of a 7.5 million fee that could rise to 10 million has been agreed, and he's off to Germany to play for Union Berlin. That's it. Celtic transfer news of the day. Wow, where do we go from here? We should have been talking about the player that was signed yesterday. The striker's coming in from South Korea. Great addition to the club. But this morning we're talking finally about the Josip Juranovic Celtic FC transfer out the club. It looks as if he has played his last game. Some of the stories this morning: Josip Juranovic exit gathering pace as this evening is set to fly out to Germany to secure a move to Union Berlin. It's been no secret the Croatian has wanted to move from Celtic after the last 18 months. It looks like the game against St Mirren was his final in the Hoops jersey. Getting into detail about the deal to the transfer to Berlin, Sky Sports are claiming last night that Celtic will receive 7.5 million. There'll be add-ons that will take it to over 10 million. Is it a good piece of business? Yes, on paper. Yes, financially, it's a good piece of business. Straight off the bat, you've made a 5 million profit on a player that we bought for 2.5 million. So from that point of view, yes, it keeps Celtic in a great financial steady. Again, we know the money that the club are making is fantastic on the transfer market. Everyone it was getting to the case where, even I thought he might actually just stay here till the summer, but we know the way that Ange Postecoglou does his transfer business, and I've got to say, all the gurus out there on Sky Sports and on Twitter and everything got it way wrong. They got it far wrong. They were selling him to everyone but Berlin. So this has obviously been playing out in the background. They had him going to Japan, they had him going everywhere. They had him going everywhere else. They had him going to Italy. He was on his way to Italy, we were told. But Josip Juranovic, he did have a great World Cup, and Celtic already have a replacement in with Alistair Johnson. I would have loved to seen Alistair Johnson in the same team as Scott Brown, because I think Bruni would have called him talk a lot. That guy can talk. I love him. He just is so articulate as a player, and he loves talking about the game, and he loves the fact that he's been given the chance to leave Canada after playing in the States. If you've seen the Celtic video from yesterday and the interview with him, he's fantastic, but he does talk a lot. Bruni would have been fun to see the two of them together. Anyway, many Celtic fans believe that the defender's asking price talking about Juranovic should have been much higher. Tell me in the comments section, what do you think about the Juranovic deal? Is it a good deal for Celtic? Debate that out in the comment section, as you do always. All we can do is wish him well. He's come in, he's done good. Some people will say he's not. There's some games where you're like, you could do a bit better, Joseph. You've got that in your locker. But he's came in, he's done a job, and the manager did say at the AGM earlier in this season that we shouldn't get too attached to our top stars. The good thing about this manager is he'll bring players in, he'll make them better, and he knows that it's all about the journey, it's all about the progression for Celtic. It's not about bringing players in and doing a Henrik Larsson and staying here for 7 years and leaving legends. I think those days are gone, especially with this manager. He sees it as a journey, it comes back to the way that they do things in Japan, Kaizen. It's continuous improvement, and that's what he wants to do with Celtic. It's that philosophy, that mindset of being able to take the club on a continuous journey to continuously improve and get better. So that's why he sees, and that is the mindset that he has, which is fantastic. And if you don't know what Kaizen is, just go and Google it. Anyway, so back to the story, Josip Juranovic. Let's jump over to the comment section and see what people were saying about yesterday's video. And yesterday's video was obviously the fact that we brought in the new striker from South Korea. The deal is done, is on his way. It's confirmed yesterday that basically the deal was done and he was coming over. The boss did say that he was expecting some movement in the transfer market in the next couple of days. He wasn't wrong with that. One other story that was kicking about is that West Ham were seemingly saying that they think that they're going to get Ange Postecoglou, but Frank McAvenny spoke to him at Frank McGarry's funeral on Monday, and he says that there's absolutely no chance that he'll leave Celtic for West Ham United. So that clears that story up. And let's jump over to the comment section and see what you're saying in the comment section about yesterday's video. First one is BenBoy9 says Holy Iwata to play against Morton. It's a cracker, and in fact there's one story that I want to see. Right, now let me just skip through this. Right, Sean Curran says great to see Kobayashi playing the other night. Natural left footer. He looks well. He did look well. He was really, really good, and he played well. Donny Boy says, as for Matt O'Reilly, he's still young and learning. It might be one of the players he needs a rest now and again in Ange's system. Keep faith in Matt. I've got every faith in Matt. When you look back, when people like Peter Grant that knew him from an early age, and you've got people like Peter Grant who's obviously been in management and football, and he's seen him grow as a player, and I think Matt O'Reilly will come really good and he'll be a really good player for Celtic in the next few years. And you've got to remember, it is just a young lad. You know, he is just a young lad. So, yep, keep an eye on him growing as a player and probably getting moved on for big money. Kobayashi, Paul Walton says, hi Paul, welcome to the channel. Kobayashi looks like, he likes the look of him. Both him and Johnson look solid signings. They are solid signings. And there's one thing about this Celtic team, there's not been... for a good few years that I can remember that we've had such quality on the bench, and being able to bring people off the bench, it must be a nightmare to play against. You know, when you see the players that we're bringing off on the bench, and they should basically be first team players. It was for a good time at Celtic. The players that you're bringing off the bench, when you used to go to games, people would sigh when they seen the board going up. And the fact is, the boss says we'll never stop, and he never does stop. Anyway, Kevin Carrick says there's still time for more transfer business. Boom, you got it this morning, Kevin. I hope you like that. I wouldn't be surprised if Remu's coming and going. Celtic fantastic since 1888 says, I seen this not long ago. The South Korean striker was heavily linked with us. Yep, and it looks like he's on his way in the door. And the next one says, a good left-sided player. We need a really good left-sided centre-back. That's one thing that was good. And great video. A lot of good information given in detail. In tomorrow's video, I'm probably going to do a bit about the South Korean striker. I'm going to give you some stats on him. And on that note, make sure you check out this afternoon's video, because I'm going to go down to Paddy's Point. I'm going to show you the pubs round about, and it is just basically 3 Irish bars that are on a big strip. I'll show you them, and then we'll obviously see what the lads are saying after the game. So on that note, have a great day, Celtic fans. If you're at the game, wrap it warm. It's probably going to be cold. Not as cold as the other end of Glasgow, where it's -9.
Lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party.